Hello, what's up guys, welcome to another one of my YouTube videos. In this video I'm going to be creating a password safe. If you are new here, my name is Emma. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, click the subscribe button, also hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I drop new content or new videos. Okay, so let's get into the video. Now before we start coding it, let me show you how it works. So it's going to ask you enter your username or username to us. So we're going to call this a username. Says user doesn't exist. Then we're going to give it a password 123. So it says user is successful. Now if I type a again, it's going to give me the password instead. So let me try Jake. Let's call this Jake. So if I call Jake again, see it works. That's how it works basically. Now let's code our own password safe. Now the way we're gonna be doing it is we're gonna be saving our info inside a dictionary for now. Okay, so it's not gonna be in a dictionary forever. So whenever you run it, you can always get your password. Okay. For example, if I should run this again, let me show what I mean. If I should run this again, so you know that I'm not storing it in the dictionary temporarily. So if I run it now and I type Jake again, it's gonna give me password, which was Jake or A, as you can see. Okay, so we're just gonna minimize that there. So then after we do that, we're gonna start a while loop. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to ask the user for their username. So we're gonna say input, enter your username or username to add. Okay, so if they wanted to add the username, they will just put it here, or if there's a username there already and they want to get the password, just put it here. They don't have to worry. We're gonna do the job for them with the coding. Okay, now the next one to do is we want to get the user password from the user's dictionary. Okay, so we're gonna say user equals to, there are two ways you can get it. You can either do users and then get username this way. Okay, so this user's dictionary is gonna be a key value pair of the username and the password. So doing users and passing username is gonna get the password. Okay, that's the way you handle dictionaries. And if you don't understand that, you can watch my videos on dictionaries. I'm gonna put it up here as a card and in the link description below as well. And so we're not gonna be doing it this way, or else it's gonna give us an error. I think key error, something like that. So what we're gonna be using is we're gonna be using dot get. So this dot get is gonna return none instead if it doesn't find that particular key. Okay, yeah, it's gonna give us a key error if it doesn't find it if you use the other method, but this get is gonna give us a none if you can't find this particular key in the dictionary, which is the username. So now we're gonna say if user, which means if you actually got a password. If this is not known, now we're gonna print the user's password. We're gonna say password is, and then we're gonna do this and user. So the user is gonna be the password. Okay, the next thing we want to do is else, which means this is actually returning none, and user doesn't exist at the same time. Now we're going to create the user, but we have to take user doesn't exist, user doesn't exist. Okay, user doesn't exist, and then we're going to print, before we print adding user I wanted to print adding user to dbdl. Instead we're going to say pwd equals to, then we're going to ask the user for the password for this new user. Enter password for new user. Okay, trust me, there's another way you can do this. I'm gonna talk about that later at the end of the video anyway. Okay, so now we've gotten the password, then we're gonna say print adding user to db. Of course, we're just saving it in a file, not in a db. And they said the next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna add this user to the dictionary. Remember, we're using the dictionary temporarily, so we're gonna say username, and then we're gonna assign it to the password. Okay, so this does the work. Let's save that and run it. But notes, let me explain something here. When we get this username, okay, let's run the code anyway at first. So I'm gonna open this in containing folder. Okay, this is where it is located, and I'm gonna do cmd up here, just as we always do. And I'm gonna come here and we're gonna run the python and then the name of the pwd safe.py. If you run it, so username, we're gonna create with Emma. User doesn't exist. Now let's give it Emma as the password. Add user to db. Oh, I should have printed added successfully after that for feedback. Then print user added. Let's just do that. Okay, so anyway, then we're gonna try Emma again. So it says the password is Emma, which works fine. But if you come back here, if you rerun this again, okay, if you rerun this again and try ima, you see user doesn't exist. So we're gonna undo that in a bit. Now let me explain something to you. If I run this again, sorry about that. So if I press enter, notice it says user doesn't exist. So if I should give it a password here, hello for example, it says user added. Now if I do hello, if I press enter, it gives me the password. So it's actually added an empty string to the dictionary and assigned it to this password, and we don't want an empty username. Okay, so we're gonna undo that here. Instead we're gonna check elif password. Okay, so we're gonna check if the password is actually something. So I'm gonna save that and run it again. So let me cancel it with Ctrl Z. So I'm gonna save that and run it again. If I press enter, it says okay, sorry, not password, elif username, pardon me. So we're gonna say elif username. You can see elif username is not equals, you can do other conditions, but just doing it this way is gonna check if the equivalent of this to either true or false. I'm going to talk about that, explain that now. If I present, I see it keeps adding me, asking me for the username. So what I meant by equivalence is if this is an empty string, it is the same thing as false whenever I'm using it here. Just like 0 to the same thing as false, and so on and so forth. So we're going to check elif username. So if the username actually exists, then we can add it here. Or else we'll come back to the top and keep asking the user for a username to add. Now we fix that issue. Now the next thing we want to do here is want to save it somewhere. So we're going to be saving it in a .txt file, which was what I did for the one I ran earlier here, as you saw earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here. Actually, we can always open our file here and check for users, do everything here, but no, remember this is a while loop. So I don't want to open my file here because I don't want to always be opening. I don't want to keep opening the file every time I run the while loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the file here, then add all the users in the file to the users list dictionary. So we're going to be making use of dictionary here. So whenever I add a new user here, I'm going to add the user to the file and to dictionary as well. Okay, in case I didn't stop the program. So let's just go into it so we see what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm not going to say file, let's call it file equals to open. Of course we don't use this anymore, so we're gonna we use it. You can still use it, you still use it, but what I mean is, well, I'm not gonna be using it, don't get me wrong. So I'm gonna say we open, let's call it pwd password, we'll call it users instead, users.txt, and read mode, okay, as f. So we're gonna say print f dot read line. Of course this will return an error at first. So let me show you something. To be able to use this file in any other place, if you run it this way and the file doesn't exist, it's gonna give you an error because you're using the read mode. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna use a try except. So the way it's gonna work is we're gonna try opening a file to read it. So if the file doesn't exist, then we're gonna create a file, which means we're just running the program for the first time and no user has added his username or his password. So we're gonna come here and then we're gonna say try except. We're gonna cut this here. Let's paste that here. Okay. So now indent this. We're gonna come here. So except file not found. That will be the name of the error. File not found. So for now, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna read the error again, which actually does nothing. I mean, which actually undoes nothing. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna come here. Okay, let me close this. Oh my. What's going on? Oh, this is not it. This is not it. Okay, this is it here. Tekemi desktop Python. This is where it is. Okay, so we're gonna close this and then we're gonna open it again. So it says found or found, which is the name of the error. I just wanted to confirm if that's the exact name, which it is. Find not found. Okay, works well. So what we're gonna do here now is, since the file it was not found, we're gonna do with open users.txt, and then we're gonna say write. So write is always gonna open the file, create a new file if it doesn't exist, and then we're gonna do pass. So we don't need .f here. Okay, what we are doing here is just so we can open this file, create a new file. Basically, if the file doesn't exist, write will always open a new file. So if you are confused about how this file works, just check my tutorial on Python files. I'm gonna link it up in, or you see some sort of card, and I'm gonna link it down in the description below as well. Okay, So this is gonna create the file. Don't worry about that. So we have that. Pretty good. So the next thing we want to do now is let's run it again. So it says file not found. Let me run it again. File not found. Oh, I cleared the write mode mistakenly. Let me run it again. So what's going on? What's going on? Line 6. Let's see. Let me run it. I don't see why this shouldn't work. Final found is not defined. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna see the error itself. Oh my. So I mean I know where it's coming from. It's probably is a probably a misspelling from the error. Okay, so this is this find of, oh my goodness. Find or find error found. I knew where the error was coming from. So we're gonna just reverse it and change this to find or found error. Okay. So now if you run it, it creates a new file. As you can see, there's a new file here. So users.txt. Cool. So for now, if you keep doing this, if you add the email, okay, let me come back here. It's just gonna be the same thing. Okay, but not doing anything with the file for now. So what we wanna do now is we're gonna get all the users in the file and the password and then add it to this dictionary here at the beginning of the code. Then we're gonna make use of dictionary for transactions here. And if we need to add a new user, we'll add it to the dictionary and to the file. Okay. Of course, at the end of the program, dictionary is going to be closed. We keep making use of the file. Cool. Now to do that, we're gonna come down to users. We're gonna come down to users. Then we're gonna put the way we're gonna be saving it is the username, comma, the password. Okay, like this. Tech. We're gonna use tech. Let's use 123 here instead. So these are we're gonna be saving it. Okay. So we're gonna save for. The reason why I did that this way now is so I can show you how we are gonna be saving it to this users dictionary. Okay. So now we're gonna save for file for user in F. So this is gonna load through each line as a string. So for user in F, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, let me come here. Let me close that. Okay. So we're gonna say for user in F, when it gets to the first line, what we wanna do is we're gonna unpack this. This is gonna return a string. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say username and password equals to, let me show what we're gonna do. Just be patient. Then we're gonna say user dot split comma. So what this does is it's gonna take the first line, look for the comma, and then split it based on the comma. So it's gonna split this based on the comma. This is gonna be it's gonna change it to a list. This is gonna be the first item in the list, and this is gonna be the second item in the list based on the comma. So it's gonna split it from middle. Same applies here. It's gonna split this from the middle, leaving the comma out. So this will become a list with tech and 1, 2, 3. So this is what we're gonna do instead. I'm gonna put this in a variable called a. I'm gonna print it so you see what I mean instead of just doing it straight. So I'm gonna save it and run the file. So as you can see, we have email, we have tech, and we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. So now with the list, what we are gonna do, what we did here earlier on with the username and password is this is how you unpack a list. Okay, so now we have two items in the list. I want to assign username to the first one and PW to the second one. What we are going to do is instead of indexing by saying username equals to, let's imagine we see how this one to be a, username equals to a0, or doing all those sort of indexing. You can just do username PW equals to the list and it's going to do the rest for you. So we just unpack this basically. And then we're going to say username. So we want to add it to the dictionary equals to PW. Now it's added to the dictionary. So everything is added to dictionary now. So that is resolved. And we're gonna come here. Let's save that. So we added this to the dictionary. The next one to do here is anytime the user doesn't exist, after adding it to the dictionary, we want to add it to the file. Okay, so we're gonna say with open. So one thing you can do also is just open a file here. Normal method with file equals to open, and you can just do file or close at the end. Okay, so it depends on how you want to do it. As you can see, we are just repeating the same thing here over and over again. So we're gonna do open where is users.txt as f. So we're gonna say f dot write. Now if the user, this is this the spots where you're adding a new user. So if the user doesn't exist, how do you want to write it? So we must write it in this exact same format: the name, comma, the password. So we're gonna use an F string here, and then we're gonna do username, comma, and then make sure there's no space here, okay, comma, and then we're gonna do pwd stands for password. So this is gonna write it in the exact same format. Now let's test our code. So if you have any question, make sure you comment down in the comment down below. I'll make sure I answer your questions. Now let's run it. So if I do email, it gives me the password because you notice I typed it earlier on here, okay. So it actually added this to the dictionary as well. Notes, even though we had this here, this slash new line, you don't have to worry about it. This is just the new line character. As you can see, when Python returned it, Python returned the new line after this, so you know this is your password, okay. So don't worry about this here. This is a new line escape character. So now we're gonna do text. We should return 1 2 3. So if I give it a new name, let's call it ASDF. Username does it. We're gonna say ASDF. So IF blah blah blah. Let's see what's going on. Okay, we didn't give it a mode, so we're gonna oh my bad. We're gonna give it a mode. Mode means W means write mode here, okay. So, no, we're not gonna be using write, or else if you use write, it's gonna overwrite everything and add this fresh. So we're gonna use append. So it's gonna append it to the bottom of the file, okay. You can just use append. Now let's run it again, okay. Oh, so we're gonna do email tech and then ASDF, okay. So user added. Now let's do ASDF. Now it gives me. So let's close the code and check the file. Is it there? Ooh, so as you can see, it's actually adding it to the back of this one. One thing you can do is anytime you're adding a new file, make sure you're doing it this way, okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete this file, which is going, that's how it's supposed to be. We're not going to be having any passwords saved in the file early. We're just going to be saving all the passwords from our code. So let's save it and run it. Now if I run it now, I'm gonna say email. So let's give it email tech 1 2 3. Now ASDF, okay. So if I do ASDF, should give me my password. If I do email, should give me my password. If I do tech, it should give me my password. If I come up here now, as you can see, we have email, tech, and so on, just like we wanted it. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And by the way, this is not the safest way of saving your password. Of course, you know that you can't save your password here. You can either hash your passwords, which is a good way to save your password. Hash it and then see, you can save it somewhere or in a SQLite DB like that. The other ways you can save it, you can. If you have any questions regarding it, just comment in the comment section below, and I'm going to make sure I answer your questions. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks guys, peace out.